a good opportunity to catch up with what's happened since we stopped getting a life. And one of the great things is that Manchester's also preparing for Adulthood Pathfinder, so they're building on what happened in Getting a Life and other initiatives. So we're going to do a little interview, aren't we? So can we start off, Cath, with, if you can tell people how you and Helena were supported to plan for Helena's adulthood when she was at school?
Well, before year 11, we thought that Helena's review in school were not very informative. She didn't come to her reviews. She did come to one. She was brought in for the last half hour, and someone says to her, "Oh, I like your shoes." Well, that was so condescending. I thought that was really bad. This type of review did not help plan for Helena's needs as an adult. We then got involved with Getting a Life when told about person-centred reviews. I joined the board of directors to find out more about them, who they are and what they could offer. I think that these reviews are the way forward. They get everyone together, physio, a staff, a key worker, all the people from the hospital, speech and language. Every year they get better because they get bigger and more people join up to come together to speak about it. You have to be in charge of who the important people to invite. Make sure they come as well. It makes the biggest difference you can't imagine. Helena said she likes to be involved in these reviews and also likes to invite some of her friends from her class. Also, Helena had a say because she got the chance to think through her dreams of the future, which meant we could start to think about getting her a bike, which was something we hadn't thought about, and this is what she envisaged and what she wanted.
This picture is Helena on one of her work experiences, isn't it?
Yeah.
In the library. Can you tell us which work experiences Helena has done and how they were organised?
Helena's in the second year of sixth form to special school. Not a lot has spoken to me or Helena about work experience or just how important it is. So I thought, well, if I want to do something, I have got to get out there and do it myself. She's done 3 lots of work experience over the last 3 years. So I decided to go knocking on the doors to see if anyone would help me. So I went to the local library and told, they knew Helena because she's always in the library anyway, even though she can't read and she can't write very well. So they jumped at it, said, yes, we'll do it. So they arranged for a one-to-one for her, did a health and safety check, and she did 4 days, and I just had to take her and drop her off. She never wanted to come home, and she did lots of different things within the library, had a really great time. The second one, she went to work at the local Shore Start Centre, which I'll tell you more about later on. And then the third one, she does dancing, been dancing for 9 years, so she went to a dancing academy, which is just down the road, and she did 5 days there. I arranged all these just through generally asking what's possible, and it was marvellous that everyone wanted to join in, to say, if you don't ask, you don't get. So you have to go out there yourself and knock on the doors. They're not just going to come to you and say, oh, here you are, do you want to do it? And the schools haven't got much time to do it. They're not interested in doing it, but they haven't got the time and they haven't got the resources to do it.
So if the school didn't organise work experience, do you think there was an expectation that Helena would get a job when she left education?
Well, they never particularly spoke about it when it was just her ordinary, just reviews. All it is a meeting with the teacher. Oh, you can have the physio or you can have that. How can you plan for anybody if the young person isn't there? If they're not having a say of what they want to do. So otherwise, it's just a farce. And I thought it was dreadful. And it was so awful. My husband even commented to one of the members of the staff, you know, what did he say? Your shoes are nice. She's a young person. She was 16 then. Just how awful to say that. But it shows what lack of understanding some of the staff in these schools have, which you're probably all aware of and you probably all know.
Okay, so tell us a bit more about what Helena's doing now and what her vision for her future is now. What's your vision for her future?
Well, through Getting a Life, we were introduced to a supported employment agency called Pure Innovations. They were fantastic. They were the first people to tell us about a job. It was the first time anyone saw Helena for who she was, for her potential, and talked about what she wanted to do. Until then, people didn't really ask about what would happen after she leaves school. We worried about what the options really were. Helena herself says she would like to work with babies and children. We'll always need someone to help her with things like dinners and in busy areas. Some people still doubt she's capable, but she always shows them. She's still studying at sixth form and has another year to go. When we had a first person centred review, Helena said she'd like to work with children. So we got help from Pure Innovations. Danny found replacement at weekends to local Sure Start. Helena started to go on a Saturday with a personal assistant, Caroline. She loved it. The manager, Anila, took Helena under her wing, looked for different jobs to do. Now Helena goes in, she has a set of photographs of how she helps set up, she does all the setting of painting and all the craft. They don't interfere, they leave her to do it herself. She does other jobs as well throughout the morning and they pay her £6.50 an hour. She does 2.5 hours. And it goes into her own bank account. Now the manager wants to increase Helena's working hours, so we're going to have a work-based review to look at how to make sure she's getting the best out of her job and really understand what Helena wants to do. And Helena is going to manage it herself. She's going to be the one who stands up and speaks, and there will be a personal assistant there, and I'll be there. There'll be all the staff at the centre there, so Helena can say what she likes, what she doesn't like, and how it can be made better for her. This is the first time that this Sure Start Centre has employed someone with disabilities, and that they have learned so much from Helena. So it goes to show, never judge a book by the cover. It's really hard when you have hospital appointments that give you bad news. I know she will never work full time, but Helena has always known she wants to work with children, and it's about getting a balance between the two. I want her to be happy and healthy, and that's why by doing what she wants to do, not having anyone else telling her. When we were asking Helena what she wants for the future and asked her, what would you do if someone said you couldn't work with children? She said, I'll tell my mum. We said, and what would she say? She said, she'd tell you not to come round to our house anymore.
You've got some pictures from the Dragon's Den, haven't you?
Yeah.
Do you want to explain what happened with the Dragon's Den?
Because I was involved with it, I made sure Helena was there. Now, at Helena's school, we have 3 groups. The top group, the middle group, and the profound. So Helena being in the middle group, she wouldn't have been invited because to show again. So the top group and one of the teachers came. So I made sure, of course, Helena was there. So at that time, she was actually at Sure Start doing her placement. So we got her a reference. She worked with a Pure Innovations, presented herself, took things that she was good at, took a DVD to show how she can dance. She dances at Blackpool Winter Gardens representing the North. And all the other things she can do. I've got a file with it all in, which I really want you all to see. And she spoke about what she loves, what she wants to do, and how she works with children. And there was one lady there from the people who were building Manchester Library, Lango Rourke. Her name was Carrie Ann. And I've got the form in my file, and she says, yes, Helena, we would love Helena to come to work with us. She loves books. So I've been to a couple of meetings, and they wanted Helena to have a say on what she would like in the children's section of the new library in Manchester City Centre. So at one of the meetings I said to Helena, what do you think is important to have in the library? So she said, changing. What do you mean by that? Place to change, big people. So we said, well, that was a really good thing. So, and she said, to make it comfy, not to have things too high up. I'm little, I can't reach. Things that I won't fall over. She thought of things that I wouldn't think of. It was a fantastic meeting. We're just waiting for someone to get in touch with us now so she can go and give some more of her ideas. And through the Pathfinder in Manchester, one of the 6 groups set up, they're going to be having another Pathfinder this year, and I'll certainly make sure that we're in it. The Dragon's Den, yeah. It was fantastic. She does so much more than I give her credit for. You know, so I don't wrap up in cotton wool. She has a full life. She's only 3'11", so she's only small. But people look at her sometimes and think, gosh, how old is she? I said, well, why don't you ask her? See, it's that thing again. Speak to the person, no, speak to the person down there.
So finally, can you tell us what you think needs to change in the system so that all young people can get those opportunities?
Planning. Don't expect things to happen. You have to make them happen yourself. Everyone needs to have a person-centred review from year 9. We've only had one for the last 3 years. So if you have one from year 9 or even from, when they first go to school, it will make life so much easier. So you can start planning so that the young person themselves can start thinking about their aspirations and what they want to do in life. They're the person who needs to be consulted, not people deciding for them, which still happens today. Information that can be shared with everyone is really important, so parents don't have to repeat things over and over again, so that people know what the young person needs and what the young person wants. This is what you get from the person-centred reviews. This is what one-page profiles are, and it's important to have them for health and everyday life. I've just done one of my own. Lane has her own one-page health profile and a one-page profile about herself. So when we go out, we can just give them out so we know who we are. So you go to the hospital, you're not telling the same people over and over again. There needs to be places of support where families can go, websites with all the info so that people know what's out there and how to access things. But the system needs to be simplified. People need to have plans to simple language which we can follow and understand. There should be a one plan that covers everything. Now Elaine has got a one plan and it's near enough finished, and look, I need you all to come and have a look. You need to read through it and take it back, because that is what everyone needs, and this is the oncoming thing that's coming about from this. Helena doesn't want to live on her own, but she would like to wash up, for example. This would make her feel more independent. So although we are not thinking about her living independently, it's more important to plan about her doing things more independently within her own home and what she wants to do. If the health system doesn't get things right, then families can panic, find it hard to plan when you hear bad news and horror stories. It makes you so overwhelming, and the health haven't got it right. Funding has to be made clearer, as everyone's telling different stories, and it can make people worried. It really can send people round the bend. And if you here can only remember one thing from what I've said, then it should be, listen to the parents. Take on board what we're saying. We have to work together and in partnership. This will help us as parents to respect you as professionals, and you as professionals to know what we need in place to make sure our young disabled people are getting good lives. Now, some things are good in Manchester and some things aren't good. So I'm my daughter's voice and advocate, and I'm obsessed with this. So things weren't going well. So I went to the town hall, I knocked on the door, and I have now had 2 meetings with the Director of Health and Wellbeing, and she was impressed with what I told her, where transition isn't going, where things are not going, and the things that are good. So with her deputy, I met with her last Friday, and with some other people who I still don't know yet, we're actually all getting together. I'm going to be the co-chair of a group, and they're going to co-chair. And she admitted they've got it wrong. So we are going to be working together, that word, communicating and partnership, and hopefully we will get it right. The 2 big things that still bother me is the health individual budget and the ordinary individual budget. One paid by the council and one paid for by health. Whether it'll ever become right, we don't know, because people still don't know about it.
So we're going to try and work that out over the next 18 months.
Yeah.
Fantastic, thanks very much. Does anyone have any questions?